Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. My name's Christy. I am one of the GCAP trainers with San Diego PACE. So today the presentation is on self-care and stress management. Throughout the presentation, my camera will be off just so there's no glitches within Teams. If you have any questions or when we have points of presentation, you can go ahead and put it in the chat and I can answer. Thank you. So the first part of the presentation, we will get into stress management, managing stress. Basically, we want you to understand how to identify stress, the effects that stress can have on us, how stress can make us feel, and ways that we can fight stress and stay healthy. Identifying stress and the symptoms. Stress can affect both our body and our mind. It will affect the way we behave, our emotions, our physical health, and it can affect us in various ways. Physically, we can experience abdominal pain, digestive issues, or difficulty breathing. Some, due to stress, may have panic attacks or anxiety attacks. Headaches, we can have sore or tired eyes. Some people experience pain in the temples or the base of their neck due to stress. Also, some experience headaches because of the tension or they're clenching their jaw. Mental health effects of stress or identifying stress, we may experience mood swings, forgetfulness, and extreme fatigue. In the chat, do you have any specific ways that you handle daily stress? Is there anything that you do for yourself? We'll get into the effects of stress. The effects of stress, we may have difficulty breathing, we may feel anxious, chest pain, some may experience shortness of breath, some may even start to sweat profusely. Some may experience a fight or flight response. So basically, it's a foreign object distress in your body. Your body is trying to fight the symptoms, or basically kind of wants to hand in the towel and give up. But our heart rate can increase. Our blood pressure can also go up. We may experience panic attacks. Panic attacks aren't always a change in our breathing. Sometimes, we just get an episode of extreme fear, fear of doom. We may have thoughts that are racing that are uncontrollable, or feelings of a sudden heart attack. Some may experience trouble with their vision, so blurred eyesight or sore eyes from the stress. There also is a condition called binocular vision dysfunction, which is a slight misalignment of the eyes. Some people may have double vision or trouble with their depth perception. Sleep problems. A lot of people say with stress they may have insomnia. They're not getting enough sleep. This could be because of their thoughts racing. They're thinking of everything that didn't get done throughout the day that now they have to add on to whatever they have to do the next day. But sleep problems can also be we're sleeping too much. So because we're so stressed or overwhelmed, we're coming home from work or we're done dealing with, whatever loved one or patient that we're taking care of and we're just coming home and kind of sleeping throughout the day. We're not getting our grocery store run done. We're not, picking up the dog food, making dinner, doing laundry, taking care of our general needs. So then, that becomes more stress because then we're having to do those tasks the next day. or we're sleeping through our weekends, so we're not socializing with friends or family, or staying active in whatever interests we may like because we're sleeping too much. So it's not always just insomnia. Some may experience fatigue, just feeling completely drained or overburdened. Some may experience muscle ache, so your body becomes stiff because you're tense from the stress. Some may also get the headaches. And obesity. So there are quite a few people who will binge eat or overeat. They start eating really carb-heavy foods, sugary foods, salty foods. Maybe this is a person who doesn't eat, fast food that often, but now they're kind of running through Jack in the Box. It's more of a comfort food for them. Or simply, they're stressed. They don't want to go home and make a meal. So they begin to overeat or eat choices. Or we have those that get stressed and they don't eat. So they're going days without a meal. They're not hydrating themselves, and that can also be unhealthy. Inflammation, again, this stress is kind of a foreign object in our body, right? So our body starts to try to fight that off, and it can affect our circulatory system as our immune is fighting off that foreign substance. Physical signs or warnings, they usually happen before the emotional sign. So those are the headaches, the GI discomfort, but sometimes the emotional can happen before the physical. When we don't identify some of the warning signs, then we can experience both. In the chat, how does stress usually make you feel? That's very common. Stress makes us feel overwhelmed. We can't sleep. Our thoughts are just racing. We can't control those thoughts or thinking of everything that we need to get done. So that's a very common feeling. We may become irritable, we may become angry, impatient, or burnt out. Patients, we're at Target or Starbucks and we're in line, and typically, waiting a few minutes in line might not bother us or get to us. But when we're stressed out and we're feeling overwhelmed, those couple minutes just waiting in the line, we can become a lot more impatient or frustrated. We might start becoming more irritable with our friends, our family, even the person that we're taking care of just because we're feeling stressed out. We may feel overwhelmed. We're starting to see 20, 30 different things that we need to get done throughout the day. And instead of focusing on one thing at a time or prioritizing, we kind of just see the whole picture and we become overwhelmed. We can get anxiety, feel nervous or afraid. And typically, our thoughts are just racing and we can't switch those thoughts off. We're unable to enjoy ourselves, so maybe we're out doing an activity that we like to do and it's just not fun for us, or we're with family and we're kind of just sitting to ourselves, not having a good time. We can become depressed. This isn't always shown by crying or being sad. Sometimes this is isolation or you're withdrawing. Or you're uninterested in life. Maybe you're someone that has a hobby that you enjoy. Maybe you like bowling, golfing, um, whatever that hobby is, and now you're kind of not interested in doing the things that you enjoy. You can also feel like you lost your sense of humor. So you're just not, as positive, optimistic, laughing at the things you usually laugh at. There are ways that we can fight stress, or ways of combating stress. Basically, the first thing will be building strong relationships for support. So if you're an external caregiver, a built-in caregiver, a family member, you want to have strong relationships with other family members, maybe other caregivers, or with your friends. Not only is this important because our friends can help us maybe do the grocery store runs, it gives us a chance to vent. We're not getting into patient information or violating HIPAA laws, but we can just let somebody know how we've had a long day. Um, they can help us in ways, maybe um, tips and tricks for how to sleep, but basically having a support network for us. Also, walking away when we're upset or angry. As we get stressed out, we get irritable, we get frustrated. Our reactions may not be the best reaction if we're not thinking before we speak or thinking before we act. So if we're ever, to that point when we're very upset, angry, or frustrated, maybe stepping out to get some air, maybe taking a walk, but basically walking away until you can process the information or process the situation, and then react accordingly. Physical wellness, I know we hear about physical activity a lot, but walking, going for a walk when you get home before, you try to do household chores, or walking on your lunch break, dancing, maybe you have to close yourself in a room and just dance for a minute, dance it out. Or even weight resistance strengthening can help us with stress. Relaxation time should be a priority, just taking time for yourself. Sleeping 8 hours per night regularly, we want to definitely get somewhere between 7 to 9 hours of sleep to stay healthy. But getting our sleep helps us refocus and regroup for the next day. Participating in programs for mental and physical health. This could be something like yoga. Maybe, you're not someone who's typically physically active. You don't enjoy going to the gym and doing weight training. It's too hot to kind of walk around outside. So they have online programs for yoga. They have yoga classes you can join, which is kind of a form of exercise and also relaxation. Music, depending on the type of music you enjoy, if you're amped up, frustrated, and irritated, and you go throw on some heavy metal or some hip hop, it might kind of spiral the effect of your mood. But maybe putting on a music that's more soothing, maybe you listen to lo-fi or jazz or R&B or some kind of music that will help soothe your soul. And also lighting candles. It's pretty surprising when you have, tasks that need to be done, dishes that need to be done, laundry that needs to be done. But just putting a candle on, it's pretty surprising how that can change our mood. So it's something to try if you haven't tried it before. Staying well. I'm definitely one of these people that I like to plan my day. I have a paper calendar. I have a calendar in my phone, both for personal and for work. But I like to plan out my day, and try to kind of prioritize what I need to make sure I get done that day versus what, something that might be able to wait till the weekend. I do believe in setting reminders. For some people, this is just maybe even a reminder to take a few minutes to breathe or to stretch, reminders to take your medication so that you're staying healthy. Whatever reminders you need to set for yourself, you can set these even in your phone. Eating healthy meals. As we mentioned with stress, sometimes we can tend to pick those comfort foods, carby foods, salty and sugary foods, but those foods can make us feel sluggish. So we take our lunch, we come back to working with our patient or our participant or our loved one, and then we're kind of sluggish in getting all of the stuff that we need to get done. Or, afterwards, we're trying to handle the things in our personal life and we're just kind of tired from our food choices. So we want to make sure that we're picking and choosing healthy, balanced meals, meals that will give us energy throughout the day. And as we mentioned, we're setting reminders, we're planning our day, we might be using a calendar, and yes, we try to plan as best as we could, But sometimes, we can't get everything done, or that our initial plan might fail. So sometimes, kind of keeping a plan B in the back of your head as a backup. So I'm unable to get to the grocery store after work or after caring for somebody, but maybe someone in my household can go for me. Or, maybe I have other things that I can make for dinner that night and I'll get to the grocery store tomorrow. But always kind of having a plan B. Learning a new hobby is really good, especially if you're kind of not interested in the things you've been doing. For me, I'm trying to pick up crocheting, which can also stress me out because those loops and getting the string through, and it can be stressful, but it is something new. It's something that I'm trying to enjoy doing as I'm a new grandma, so I can try to learn how to make those little booties for my grandbaby or a beanie or something. But sometimes picking up something new can take the focus off what we've been stressed out about as well. Exercising more often. This can even just be a 30-minute walk a few times a week. Maybe you get those little walking pads that you can use at home or while you're standing in the kitchen doing dishes, you put the walking pad there. But ways that we can get a little bit of exercise in here or there. And then the biggest one, dealing with problems as they arise. Yes, there's a lot of things stressing you. Those 20 things you have to do. You have to do a medication reminder, assist with showering, assist with prepping meals, but try to focus on one thing at a time rather than just looking at the whole picture and feeling overwhelmed. So what is stress? There's actually no definition of stress that everyone's going to agree on. What is stressful for one person may be pleasurable or have little effect on others. We all react to stress differently. Some of us, we like to work in fast-paced environments. We can work in a clinic that has 40 to 60 patients a day versus someone, that likes kind of a slower paced clinic. So if you put someone that likes the slower pace or working with one client at a time into an environment where they're having to multitask, that could be stressful for them. Versus that other person, they might get stressed working in a slower environment because they're typically used to fast pace. So we all react to stress differently, and things will um, stress us out just depending on who we are and how we are. What affects you may not affect me. So this is the end of the first presentation on stress. Stress spelled backward is desserts for any dietitians or nutritionists on here. That might not be the best saying, but it's just kind of something funny to think about. So we'll get into self-care now. I can move it. Does anyone have any questions on stress management? Okay, so I will get into self-care. Self-care is very important. We're all in the field or we're working with loved ones. We're basically providing care to somebody else. And sometimes we forget that we need to care for ourselves, that our health is important, that our needs getting met are important as well. So we're going to go over the basics of self-care, the importance of self-care, making ourselves a priority, Maslow's hierarchy pyramid. We'll watch a little video and then make sure that we are meeting our own needs. So again, it's very important. We take care of our emotional and physical well-being. Sometimes this is just taking a break out of your everyday routine, making sure that you're setting aside time for yourself, not to focus on work or, chores that we need to get done in our personal life. To stay healthy, we need to make sure that our needs are being met. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is a five-tier pyramid, but they are met in order of our own motivations. So with physiological needs, this is air, water, food, shelter, sleep, clothing, basically our survival needs. Safety, this could be in our health, security, employment. Belonging is also known as love and affection. So this is our family, friends, intimacy, basically our sense of connection, our sense of belonging. Esteem is respect, recognition, and self-esteem. And self-actualization, in this pyramid, it shows it's a desire to become the most that we can be. Um, Also, for in this pyramid, self-actualization could be that we've reached our full potential. So not everybody reaches that self-actualization because we kind of don't necessarily reach a full potential. Our goals may change. We may meet one goal and then we kind of evolve into something else. So we're all kind of constantly growing, learning, and having new goals for ourselves. Hopefully you guys can hear this video about Maslow's hierarchy. If you can't hear it, let me know in the chat. Let me pause this if you can't hear it. I'm gonna see if it's the way that this is sharing. Let's see. Oops. Hmm. Not giving me that option to share the sound. Let's try it again. Are you able to hear it now? Let's see. I don't think it's gonna let us share the sound for some reason. Sometimes we have this issue in Teams. I don't really know why. We'll skip this. I'll just go to the next slide. But basically, it's going over this again, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and how once we meet our own kind of survival needs, the physiological needs such as oxygen, water, food, shelter, um, after that, they're kind of met by our own motivation. So somebody else might place their employment, their finances, their health first, whereas somebody else might place love first or the sense of belonging, the sense of connection. And these aren't definitively defined, so there's no clear line between physiological and safety or safety and belonging. They kind of intertwine. So yes, we're meeting our survival needs with our physiological needs, but at the same time, we're kind of meeting our safety and employment, right? Because we are working so that we can provide our food and our shelter. So the questions in our mind when it comes to self-care, we think of how do I make time? I'm always busy. Why do I feel guilty when I take time for myself? I have kids at home. My house is always loud and messy. Um, this is a hard one. What activities bring me joy or what makes me happy? We focus on so much about who we're taking care of or providing care for. We worry about, that our kids are happy, our spouse is happy, and everyone else is happy, but what actually makes ourselves happy? Also, what does your culture say about self-care? Some cultures, it's very much in about providing for others, and you basically come last, or whether you matter at all. Also, there's certain cultures that don't believe that depression is a thing, or that we need to get counseling or take care of our mental health. So that can play a big role into how we work, how we make other connections professionally and in our personal life. So we're going to make some time right now. Um, if you're able to, you can stand up wherever you're doing this presentation. You can use both arms to reach up to the sky. If you're unable to stand up, just kind of reach up to the sky or the ceiling while you're sitting. And then you can relax your arms down. The next one, it would usually take a couple minutes, but this is meditation. So sometimes we need to just close our eyes, and instead of focusing on the 20 things that we have to do or all the tasks that we need to do, we can just tell ourselves while we're breathing in to breathe in, breathe in, breathe in. And then as we breathe out, we're saying breathe out. The reason why we're saying this in our head, breathe in and breathe out, is because if you're telling yourself to breathe in and telling yourself to breathe out, that's what you're thinking about and focused on, and you're not focused on everything else. You can see how you feel after you try that. For some people, they need to go into the restroom. They need to go stand outside and stretch. They need to sit in the bathroom or sit on a couch and kind of take a minute to close their eyes and breathe in so that they can reduce the stress, reduce frustration, get your thoughts together so you can go about the rest of your shift or the rest of your day. There's also pressure points specifically for stress. Using a circular motion between your eyebrows at the bridge of your nose is one pressure point. Some people will actually pinch that area to relieve stress. The webbing between your thumb and your first finger or your index finger, if you pinch the webbing and hold it, that's also a pressure point for stress. Where the neck and your shoulders meet, if you massage the area at the base of your neck with your thumbs, this can relieve some stress. And then the top of your head. This is kind of interesting when I found this out, but if you use small circular motions at the top center of your head, that can also relieve stress. So you can try the different things that we mentioned for stress, the pressure points, taking a walk, getting air, regrouping if you're frustrated, trying to have a support network of friends and family, maybe starting a new hobby. But we want to make sure that you do focus on your self-care as much as you focus on caring for others. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and put them in the chat. I can answer your questions for you. If not, thank you very much for attending the presentation on stress management and self-care.